Hello everyone and welcome back to EverlastCyber. In today's video, we'll be going through some practice questions and answers for the Microsoft Azure certification. So we'll be starting off with question 1. You have an on-premises network that contains several servers and you plan to migrate all the servers to Azure. You need to recommend a solution to ensure that some of the servers are available if a single Azure data center goes offline for an extended period. What should you include in the recommendation? A. Fault tolerance. B. Elasticity. C. Scalability. D. Low latency. Fault tolerance is the ability of a system to continue functioning even if one or more components fail. In this scenario you want to ensure that your servers remain available even if a single Azure data center goes offline. For option B, elasticity is the ability to automatically scale resources up or down based on demand. Scalability is the ability to increase or decrease resources to handle the load. However, it does not ensure availability across data centers in the event of a failure. Low latency refers to minimizing delay in data transmission, and this is related to performance and not about ensuring availability during a data center outage. So the answer we'll be going with here is option A. Fault tolerance. In order to achieve this, you will need to set up your resources across multiple data centers or regions, and this will provide fault tolerance against the failure of any single data center. Question 2. You have 50 virtual machines hosted on premises and 50 virtual machines hosted in Azure. The on-premises virtual machines and the Azure virtual machines connect to each other. Which type of cloud model is this? A. Hybrid. B. Private. C. Public. A hybrid cloud model integrates both on-premises infrastructure and public cloud resources. It allows workloads to move between the two environments, and in the case we have here, we have the virtual machines that are hosted on both on-premises network and in Azure, with connectivity between them. So this setup is characteristic of a hybrid cloud model, where both the private and the public cloud resources are used together to meet the organization's need. A private cloud is a cloud resource that is used exclusively by one organization, but it does not fit the scenario we have here. A public cloud is a cloud service provided by a third-party provider like Azure, where resources are shared among multiple organizations. But in this case, since we are using both on-premises and Azure resources, it is not a public cloud setup. So our answer here is option A, the hybrid cloud model. Question 3. EverlastCyber intends to migrate all its virtual machines to an Azure pay-as-you-go subscription. These virtual machines are currently hosted on Hyper-V servers in a data center. You need to ensure that the planned Azure solution uses the appropriate expenditure model. Proposed solution is recommend using the operational expenditure model. Does this solution achieve the goal? In this scenario, the operational expenditure model is the appropriate model for Azure's pay-as-you-go subscription. So in this case, our answer would be yes. The operational expenditure model allows costs to be incurred as the services are used, and this makes it a flexible and scalable approach that is suitable for cloud services. In the model we have, the company only pays for the resources that it consumes rather than a large upfront investment. The large upfront investment is typical of the capital expenditure model, but that is not what we have in this scenario. So, the operational expenditure model recommendation will achieve the goal. Question 4. You are required to deploy an artificial intelligence solution in Azure. You want to make sure that you are able to build, test, and deploy predictive analytics for the solution. Solution proposed: you should make use of Azure Cosmos DB. Does the solution meet the goal? Yes or no? Azure Cosmos DB is a globally distributed multimodal database service that is designed for high availability, low latency, and scalability. Now, while it can support storing and retrieving data for AI applications, it is not designed for building, testing, and deploying predictive analytics model. So in this case, the solution does not meet the goal. So we'll be going with option B, which is no. For building and testing and also deploying predictive analytics for an AI solution, the Azure Machine Learning would be the more appropriate service because Azure Machine Learning provides the tools and services for training and deploying machine learning models, making it ideal for predictive analytics. Question 5. You are required to deploy an artificial intelligence solution in Azure. You want to make sure that you're able to build, test, and deploy predictive analytics for the solution. Solution proposed: you should make use of Azure Machine Learning Studio. Does the solution meet the goal? Here we'll be going with yes, because like we've explained in the previous question, the Azure Machine Learning Studio is specifically designed for building, testing, and deploying machine learning and predictive analytics models. It provides an end-to-end environment for data scientists and AI professionals to develop models, experiment with data, and deploy predictive analytics solutions. So that's why we're going with option A, which is yes, the Azure Machine Learning Studio will meet the goal. Question 6. You're responsible for deploying a critical line of business application on a virtual machine in Azure. The deployment strategy must ensure a guaranteed availability of 99.99% while minimizing the number of virtual machines and availability zones used. Proposed solution: use a strategy with 1 virtual machine and 2 availability zones. Does the solution meet the goal? Yes or no? In order to achieve 99.99% availability in Azure, a single virtual machine would not be sufficient, even if it is spread across 2 availability zones. For Azure to meet the 99.99 SLA, it requires at least 2 virtual machines in an availability set or across 2 availability zones. So our answer here is option B, no. To achieve 99%, a single virtual machine would not be sufficient. So you will need at least 2 virtual machines. So the proposed solution would not meet the goal. Question 7. When you need to assign permissions to multiple Azure virtual machines at once, you should deploy the virtual machines: A, using a shared Azure Resource Manager template; B, in the same resource group; C, in the same availability zone; D, in the same Azure region. For option A, while a template can help create multiple virtual machines with similar configurations, it does not inherently allow you to manage permissions collectively after it has been deployed. For option B, a resource group is a logical container that allows you to manage and apply permissions to multiple resources collectively. So by placing virtual machines in the same resource group, you can assign permissions to all the virtual machines within that group simultaneously, thereby simplifying permission management. For option C, availability zones are used for redundancy and high availability within a region, but not for managing permissions. While for option D, the regions determine the physical location of resources, but they do not impact permission management. So our answer here is option B. They have to be in the same resource group. Question 8. What extends Azure compliance and monitoring to multi-cloud and hybrid configurations? A. Azure Arc. B. Azure Front Door. C. Azure Policy. D. Azure AD Connect. Azure Arc extends Azure management, compliance, and monitoring capabilities to multi-cloud and hybrid environments, because with this Azure Arc, organizations can manage their resources running outside of Azure, such as in an on-premises data center or other cloud providers, using Azure's tools, and this will enable unified governance, security, and compliance across diverse environments. The Azure Front Door is a global scalable web application delivery service that provides high availability and performance for applications. However, it does not extend compliance and monitoring to multi-cloud or hybrid setups. Azure Policy helps to enforce organizational standards and access compliance, but it primarily applies to resources within Azure rather than extending to hybrid or multi-cloud environments. The Azure AD Connect synchronizes on-premises Active Directory with Azure Active Directory, aiding identity management. However, it does not extend compliance and monitoring to multi-cloud or hybrid configurations. So our answer here is option A, Azure Arc. Question 9. Which benefit of Azure Cloud Services supports cost management for an application with low usage during most of the month and high usage in the last week? A. High availability. B. High latency. C. Elasticity. D. Load balancing. High availability ensures that applications remain accessible even during failures, but it does not address cost management for variable usage patterns. High latency is increased response time to data processing, but this is unrelated to cost management. Elasticity, on the other hand, allows resources to be scaled up or down automatically based on demand, while load balancing distributes incoming traffic across resources for performance and reliability, but it does not adjust the number of resources based on demand to manage costs. So our answer here is option C. In the scenario we have, during the last week of the month when the application experiences high usage, resources can be scaled up to handle the load. And then during the first 3 weeks when usage is low, resources can be scaled down to save costs, thereby ensuring efficient cost management aligned with the application's fluctuating usage. Question 10. You plan to migrate a web application to Azure, and the web application is accessed by external users. You need to recommend a cloud deployment solution to minimize the amount of administrative effort used to manage the web application. What should you include in the recommendation? A. Software as a service. B. Platform as a service. C. Infrastructure as a service. D. Database as a service. Software as a service offers fully managed applications provided by a third party. Since we are migrating a web application in this scenario we have, software as a service would not be a suitable recommendation. Platform as a service is the best choice for hosting a web application with minimal administrative efforts. This is because Platform as a Service provides a complete development and deployment environment in the cloud, and this allows you to build, deploy, and manage applications without managing the underlying infrastructure. This goes to reduce the administrative burden as Azure handles the server management, scaling, and operating system maintenance. and your team can now focus on application development and configuration. Infrastructure as a service provides virtual machines and other infrastructure resources. However, you would still be responsible for managing the operating system, application deployment, and scaling. So this will take more administrative efforts. Database as a service refers to database management services provided by a cloud provider. While it is used for database-specific needs, it doesn't encompass the management of a full web application. So our answer here is option B. Platform as a service will reduce the administrative burden because Azure will handle the server management and scaling, as well as the operating system management, while the team can now focus on the application development and configuration. Question 11. You have an on-premises network that contains 100 servers, and you need to recommend a solution that provides additional resources to your users. The solution must minimize capital and operational expenditure costs. What should you include in the recommendation? A complete migration to the public cloud. B, an additional data center. C, a private cloud. D, a hybrid cloud. For option A, while a full cloud migration reduces capital expenditures, it may increase operational costs due to ongoing cloud service charges and may not suit workloads that need to remain on premises. Building or leasing another data center requires significant capital expenditure and increases operational costs, so this is not a good recommendation. A private cloud is hosted on premises, so it involves high capital expenditures for infrastructure and ongoing operational costs for maintenance, so this would not be a good recommendation. A hybrid cloud solution combines on-premises infrastructure with cloud resources, allowing you to add additional resources as needed without fully migrating everything to the public cloud. This approach is cost-effective because it allows you to scale resources for specific needs while minimizing both capital and operational expenditures. So our answer here is option D, the hybrid cloud. Question 12. You plan to migrate several servers from an on-premises network to Azure. What is an advantage of using a public cloud service for the servers over an on-premises network? A, the public cloud is owned by the public, not a private corporation. B, the public cloud is a crowdsourcing solution that provides corporations with the ability to enhance the cloud. C, all public cloud resources can be freely accessed by every member of the public. D, the public cloud is a shared entity whereby multiple corporations each use a portion of the resources in the cloud. For this, we'll begin with option D. A public cloud service like Azure is operated by a third-party provider, and it allows multiple organizations to share the same infrastructure and resources. This shared model is cost-effective because it enables economies of scale. It reduces costs for each individual user compared to maintaining an on-premises network. It also provides maintenance, upgrades, and scalability for the users, and this offers a significant advantage over the capital-intensive and labor-intensive requirements of on-premises infrastructure. So this is an advantage that the public cloud service for servers has over the on-premises network. Question 13. What does Azure Site Recovery provide for virtual machines? A, elasticity. B, disaster recovery. C, high availability. D, fault tolerance. Elasticity is the ability to scale resources up or down based on demand. Azure Site Recovery is a disaster recovery service that enables you to replicate virtual machines to Azure in order to ensure business continuity in the event of a disaster. High availability ensures that a system is continuously operational and reduces downtime, but this is not the primary focus of Azure Site Recovery. Fault tolerance involves maintaining system operations even when hardware or software failures occur. With respect to the question we have, it mentions Azure Site Recovery. So the best answer here is option B. Azure Site Recovery provides disaster recovery for virtual machines. So it allows you to recover applications and workloads in the cloud with minimal downtime by providing automated failover and failback capabilities. This helps organizations to maintain availability during outages, ensuring disaster recovery with minimal operational efforts. Question 14. In which type of cloud model are all the hardware resources owned by a third party and shared between multiple tenants? A. Private. B. Hybrid. C. Public. In a private cloud model, the hardware resources are dedicated to a single organization and they are not shared with other tenants. A hybrid cloud is a combination of the private and public clouds where an organization can move workloads between both environments. While it may involve shared resources in the public cloud, it also includes dedicated resources in the private cloud. So with respect to the question we have, that would not be our answer. Our answer is option C, the public cloud. In the public cloud model, all the hardware resources like the servers, storage, and networking are owned and operated by a third-party cloud provider. These resources are then shared between multiple tenants like organizations or customers, and it allows for efficient resource utilization and cost sharing. So tenants access the cloud resources over the internet, and each tenant's data and workloads are isolated from others. Question 15. You have 1,000 virtual machines hosted on the Hyper-V host in a data center, and you plan to migrate all the virtual machines to an Azure Pay-as-you-go subscription. You need to identify which expenditure model to use for the planned Azure solution. Which expenditure model should you identify? A. Operational. B. Elastic. C. Capital. D. Scalable. In the Azure Pay-as-you-go subscription, the operational expenditure model will be the most appropriate because in this model, costs are incurred on an ongoing basis and they are based on usage. In the Pay-as-you-go model, pricing is based on the actual resource that is consumed, such as compute, storage, and networking. This allows for flexibility as costs scale with your actual usage rather than requiring a large upfront capital expenditure. So we'll be going with option A. Question 16. What does a customer provide in a software as a service model? A. Application data. B. Data storage. C. Compute resources. D. Application software. In the software as a service model, the customer uses the software applications that are hosted and managed by a third-party provider. So the provider is responsible for managing the infrastructure, application software, and data storage. The only thing that the customer is responsible for is providing the application data, and this could be the user data, content, or other data used within the application. Data storage, compute resources, and application software are all managed by the cloud provider. So our answer here is option A. In a software as a service model, the customer is responsible for providing the application data. Question 17. You plan to provision infrastructure as a service resources in Azure. Which resource is an example of IaaS? A. An Azure web app. B. An Azure virtual machine. C. An Azure logic app. D. An Azure SQL database. An Azure web app is an example of platform as a service, so this is not the answer we are looking for. An Azure virtual machine for IaaS. IaaS provides virtualized computing resources over the internet, such as virtual machines, networking, and storage. So an Azure virtual machine is a clear example of IaaS because it allows you to provision and manage virtual machines in Azure, thereby giving you control over the operating system, applications, and storage. Azure Logic Apps is a platform as a service offering that provides workflow automation and integration between various services without managing the underlying infrastructure. While the Azure SQL database is an example of database as a service or even platform as a service. So with respect to our question here, the resource that is an example of IaaS is option B, an Azure virtual machine. Question 18. To which cloud models can you deploy physical servers? A. Private cloud and hybrid cloud only. B. Private cloud only. C. Private cloud, hybrid cloud, and public cloud. D. Hybrid cloud only. Physical servers can be deployed in the private cloud and hybrid cloud, but not in the public cloud. Public cloud providers like Azure or AWS offers virtualized resources like virtual machines, storage, and networking. So physical servers are managed by the provider, so the customers do not deploy their own physical hardware. So the cloud models that can allow for deployment of the physical hardware is option A, which is the private cloud, and the hybrid cloud, because the hybrid cloud takes cognition of the on-site premise and the public cloud. And then the private cloud is majorly hosted on premises. So these are the only two cloud models that you can deploy a physical server. Question 19. Your company plans to migrate all virtual machines to an Azure pay-as-you-go subscription. These virtual machines are currently hosted on Hyper-V servers in the data center. You need to ensure the intended Azure solution follows the correct expenditure model. Proposed solution. Recommend using the scalable expenditure model. Does this solution meet the goal? Yes or no? For this, we'll be going with no. The scalable expenditure model is not a standard expenditure model in cloud services terminology, and it does not specify the flexibility of operational cost, which is what pay-as-you-go subscriptions provide. In Azure, the correct expenditure model for a pay-as-you-go subscription is the operational expenditure model and not a scalable model. So that's why we're going with option B, which is no. Question 20. What is the first stage in the Microsoft Cloud Adoption Framework for Azure? A. Adopt the cloud. B. Make a plan. C. Ready your organization. D. Define your strategy. The first stage in the Microsoft Cloud Adoption Framework for Azure is to define your strategy. This stage focuses on understanding the organization's goals for cloud adoption, aligning those goals with business objectives, and defining how the cloud will help achieve those objectives. So our answer here is option D. Define your strategy. This brings us to the end of the practice questions for the Azure Fundamentals Certification exam. Don't forget to like, comment, and share, and also hit the subscribe button for when our next video will drop. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.